Sonar screen went white. During the 4 seconds that the submarine was buffeted by the explosions, the sonar was useless. Those seconds seemed like an eternity to Stariko. Finally, the sonar screen cleared. "Captain," Sonar Man Ivanovich shouted. "It's still out there. The object's still coming. 900 meters. 800. Take evasive action," Stariko screamed. "Right. Full rudder." The helmsman jerked the sub's controls. The Aquila turned to the starboard, but it wasn't fast enough. "It almost hit us, sir," Ivanovich cried, and then the entire submarine shuddered as over 600 tons of force struck it. The submarine spun like a balloon on a string. Men and machinery were tossed about. Systems shorted out in showers of sparks. Collision's alarm went off all over the ship. The hull was ruptured in a dozen places. Even the bridge began to fill with water. "Damage report," Captain Stariko cried. "Captain," Vosilov answered. "The nuclear reactor has been damaged. It's leaking radiation. We must surface immediately." "Blow the ballistic tanks," Stariko commanded. There, he knew it would probably be too late. The submarine had already lost full hull integrity. The Aquila was taking far too much water. Stariko has trained his crew well. The men did the best to save the ship. They sealed watertight hatches and cut off the reactor from the rest of the ship. As the power died, emergency lights flickered and went out. Far from the bridge, near the center of the hull, the submarine was rocked by a secondary explosion that blew a 10-foot hole in the hull. It was a mortal wound. The boat tipped nose down. The Stariko felt the dying shudders of the Aquila. He turned and stared into the eyes of his first mate, Vosilov. "Launch the distress beacon," Stariko said, calmly. Vosilov reached out and flipped the switch. Then the Aquila shuddered for a third and final time, as something huge grabbed a hold of it and began to squeeze. Stariko was dashed against the console as sparks leaped from it. He tried to hold on, but the force of the impact was too much. Stariko collapsed to the deck. He lay still. There was nothing he could do. Something had reached out from the ocean and destroyed them. Not knowing what it was troubled Stariko. He only vaguely. He listened helplessly to the death screams of 100 men. His men. Then Captain Stariko and the rest of the crew heard it. A terrible roar of an incredible gigantic beast of prey. Suddenly, the damaged hull of this Aquila split in half. Millions of gallons of water rushed into the superheated reactor core, and instantly turned to steam. The resulting explosion was horrible. The superheated steam rippled the submarine into pieces. Chunks of the vessel and its contents were scattered along the ocean floor for miles. A huge steam bubble erupted on the ocean's surface. Even though the core of the submarine's reactor stayed intact, through the explosion, radioactive material leaked from it and spilled into the waters as it slowly sank. Nearby, the mysterious creature that had destroyed the submarine fed on that radiation. It fed and grew stronger. May 3rd, 1996. 5:05 p.m. The United States Naval Base, Naha Harbor, Okinawa. Around the American base at Okinawa, the sound of the dying Russian submarine was picked up by hundreds of sound-sensitive devices that line the ocean floor. These instruments constantly monitored submarine activity in the waters around the military base. They were the first line of defense against secret attacks. The Navy officers monitored the area, noticed an increase in radioactivity, and in the same area as the sound disturbance, experts and intelligence officers later agreed that a nuclear submarine had died out there. Probably a Russian Aquila-class vessel. Likely an accident. Though one of the U.S. Navy sonar men who listened to the tape over and over again swore he could hear the sounds of a collision. Others weren't so sure. But there was another sound that everyone who listened to the tape heard clearly. It was a strange sound. Not so easily explained, it sounded like a roar of a huge beast. But there was ridiculous, everyone decided. Helicopters and U.S. Navy rescue ships were immediately dispatched to the area. They found some debris floating on the surface. Clothing, bits of soggy paper, broken plastic, and wood. A huge oil slick. They also found some evidence of ritual radiation. Searchers even found a corpse or two that the sharks have not yet torn into pieces. There were no survivors. And that was the end of Chapter 1, everyone. I'm going to call it a day on this one. And we will try this again in Chapter 2. So if everybody does enjoy this, we will continue this little series. So everyone, have a good day. Also,
hurry up! We're not even supposed to be on this podcast. The Real Cuddle Productions is... Oh, hello. Mr. C, we don't have time for this! The Real Cuddle Productions deals with streaming and podcasts of that sort of thing. And
Hurry up, Neil!
These are all podcasts we do. Look up Kaiju Review for You, Through the Eyes of an Ensign, Cartoon Nami, and 15 Minutes in Hell. With episodes that get published weekly. Now, let's hurry up before we're found out.
Hey! What are you doing?
Oh no, cheese it! Look us up!
and that was the new commercial. We finally have an opening for the podcast, and we do have a commercial to kind of spread out the word of our wonderful productions here. Do check out some of our sister channel of Knights of Geeks of Your Productions. Look up Knights of Nerdalot and a few other ones. There is Paranormal Chats with Heath and Jeff. So I would recommend that one. That's actually been a really fun one that they've been doing, and eventually I will join them on an episode or two. And one called The Penny Pictures, if I'm not mistaken, that they're working on. And we will hope to hear from you about it. So everyone enjoy it.